Hi and welcome back to the Quarry garden. On a bit of a cold day, but it's dry, and you'll have just seen the video where I moved this Philostachys nigra black stemmed bamboo several months ago, and I added it here to the bog garden. And one of the main reasons why I actually removed it from the white garden, because the white garden many moons ago used to be a tropical type garden. I removed all of those types of plants quite some time ago, and this was one of the last bamboos to move. And it's quite a large shrub, as you'll have seen from the video. Hopefully it'll do well here. It has quite a few dead stems in the middle, in the interior of the plant, so I need to remove those in the spring. I'm not going to do anything with it now. I'm going to let it settle for the rest of the winter, and then I will get in there and clean it out at that point. But that was the last thing that I did here in the bog garden, way back the end of August. It seems like it's rained nearly every day since. Slight exaggeration, but it's rained an awful lot. I did at that point put a spade in the ground to start digging out the pond, which is just behind me here in the bog garden. And that hasn't gone well at all because of the bad weather that we've had this year. But let me turn the camera around and I'll show you how far I've actually got. So this is it, the future pond. And this is where you'll have to use some imagination because it just looks like mud. But here, one section that I've actually dug out was the beginning part of it, and the shape is actually in a peanut shape. The top was the only section I managed to dig out, and it filled with water within days because of the rain that we've had. And the water's remained ever since because I'm digging into what's clay, and that's what's going to line the pond, the clay. Eventually, hopefully in the winter, I'll get this dug out, ready for planting in all of these areas in the spring. But that's as far as I've got in the bog garden this year. Bit of a disappointing year. Had hoped to actually achieve a lot more, but never mind, I'm hopeful. Fingers crossed next year will be a better year to actually plant up all of these bog garden areas. But today I'm going to add some more plants. It's probably the last planting that I'll do this year, onto the bank side over behind me there. So let me show you the plants that I'm going to add today to that area. So this is a new area behind me here for a new border. And it's took a long time to get to this point, probably about 9 to 10 months. During this year I've been working on it, every now and again, removing all of the weeds. And at last I'm ready to add some plants. And these are plants or shrubs that I've had for well over a year. So they're pretty pot bound, so I need to get them in the ground as soon as I can. Got evergreen shrubs and a shrub that I'm going to add for winter interest. And it's got lovely red stems, this particular variety. Now the shrubs and the winter stemmed plant that I'm going to add, this is a Cornus, and that variety is Baton Rouge. I love acidic soil. Now I didn't know that about Cornus. I didn't realise that they would tolerate acidic soils, but apparently they will grow in that and also neutral soils. Very adaptable plant. So I'm going to add those. I've got several of them in the area at the far side of this border adjacent to a path. So when I'm walking up and down the path, I actually see these lovely red stems. And I've got some yellow ones too. The rhododendrons, I'm going to go behind here. Obviously evergreen, again, acidic loving plants. This one is Cunningham Fat Boy. Not a particularly glamorous name, but it's quite glamorous rhododendron. Lovely green, vivid green glossy leaves with a big white flower late spring, early summer. The other variety is Fortie. Quite a dull leaf, not a pretty particular looking plant at this point, but it does have very big, blousy, pink-red flowers, late spring to early summer. Smaller variety, about 4 to 5 feet, in the right conditions, planting conditions. This one can grow anything up to 6 to 7 feet if it gets the conditions that it loves. Hopefully, fingers crossed, down here it will. They're very shallow-rooted plants, rhododendrons, but I have actually dug out quite big planting holes. It's just so when they're planted, they can capture as much, or I can capture as much moisture coming down this bank side, because that's one of the things they do like. They like to be kept moist conditions, particularly in mid to late summer when the buds, the flower buds are forming for the following year. You need to make sure that it has plenty of water at that point. So those are going to be added behind me. The Cornus, as I said, this one is Baton Rouge. This stood out to me when I went to the garden centre compared to all of the other ones. Just the colours were so vivid, the red colours. I really did like that one, so I chose this one because of that. I've had them, as I said, for quite a long time, well over a year, these plants. I tend to buy plants when I see them on offer, even though I'm not ready to plant them at that point. And I cut this back really hard last spring, down to about 2 inches. And that's the only way you can actually maintain these lovely, very vivid stems, is to cut it back really hard in mid to late spring. That way you'll ensure you have lovely stem colour in the winter, the following winter. It does have a very small flower in the spring, very small creamy white flower, but it's not like the cornices that you grow, like Cornus cousa, where you grow for the lovely flowers. These are more grown and planted here, certainly here in the UK, for the winter interest that they provide in the garden. So I'm going to add several of those to the far side of the border. So I think that's it. Let me put you on a time lapse, I'll add them and I'll show you what it looks like at the end. So it's the next day. It gets dark so early now here, 3:30, 4 o'clock, and it's nearly dark. So I've come out the next day, sun and showers, but at least the sun is shining on these cornus that I planted. Can't remember the name of the yellow one, so I'll put it on the screen now. The red one, which is my favourite, is the Baton Rouge, and it has lovely red stems, as hopefully you can see. They're small shrubs, but hopefully in years to come they'll fill out this big area. But now let me show you the rhododendrons that I planted. So hopefully this gives you some perspective of how big this new border is. This is one of the shrubs I planted yesterday, and I've got 2 more near the bottom. Lots of area to add more plants though. But that's it for today from a very wet autumnal Northumberland. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you very soon with some Christmas videos. Bye for now.